Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. I definitely made too many mistakes. Iga Swiatek rues unforced errors as impressive winning streak comes to an end. Iga Swiatek was on a 9-match winning streak before entering the Canadian Open, but she lost out in the last 16 to Danish star Clara Tauson 6-7, 1, 3-6 in a huge upset. Swiatek had looked unstoppable in recent weeks, winning her first Wimbledon title in dominant fashion while also not dropping a set since the second-round victory over American Catherine McNally. Tauson took an early advantage, breaking the Pole's serve in the third game. Swiatek eventually broke back to make it 5-5, but not before she missed 7 earlier breakpoints, even at one point being 0-40 ahead of her opponent. A sloppy tiebreak for the 24-year-old allowed Tauson to win 6 consecutive points and take the first set. She went ahead in the second set through another early break of serve, but was again reined in by the world number 3, who took her first breakpoint of the set. Tauson replied in style, breaking straight back and serving out to defeat the second seed and win against her 5th top 10 opponent. This is also sweet revenge after she was taken down by Swiatek at Wimbledon a month ago. Unforced errors cost Swiatek. It was not a performance Swiatek would want to remember after she hit 46 unforced errors in her straight sets loss, 25 of those uncharacteristically coming on her exceptional forehand. Widely known as one of the best forehand strikers in women's tennis, this sloppiness comes as a shock. After the match, Swiatek noted the mistake she made, specifically in the tiebreak, where she lost 7-1, but also praised her opponent, with Swiatek unable to find any answers to what was a brilliant display from the 22-year-old. "I made too many mistakes in the tiebreak," Swiatek said after the defeat. "In the second set, I felt Clara had the wind in her sails, and I didn't really know how to solve the problems. I definitely made too many mistakes on balls I could have played." Iga Swiatek rues unforced errors as impressive winning streak comes to an end. This story blends fiction and reality, exploring pressure, self-reflection, and personal growth through the lens of a tennis champion. The weight of the streak. The court was silent, save for the rhythmic popping of tennis balls being practiced somewhere far behind the main stadium. Iga Swiatek sat on the edge of the bench, elbows on her knees, head low. Her racket dangled loosely from her fingers, still warm from the fight she had just lost. She hadn't just lost a match. She had lost the match. The end of the streak. The numbers had built up like a wall behind her. 38 straight wins. Undefeated for months. Media outlets called her untouchable. Commentators spoke of her game like it was a language only she understood. The pressure had come on like a shadow, first flattering, then suffocating. Now the silence felt like a scream. Her streak was gone, snapped in two by a younger, lesser-known player who had played with freedom and fearlessness, 2 things Iga hadn't felt in weeks. "I definitely made too many mistakes," she had told the reporters just moments ago. The words had left her lips dry, as if naming them would make them heavier. Unforced errors, tennis's most unforgiving currency. A mistimed forehand here, a netted backhand there, a double faulted deuce. Little cracks that had, by the end, split the match wide open. But it wasn't just about tennis. Iga left the locker room later than usual. She walked the stadium halls, with a hoodie pulled low over her brow. Fans were still lingering outside, hopeful for autographs, but she exited through the side, unnoticed. The night air in the city was thick, and even with the mask of anonymity, she felt exposed. "You should be proud," she told herself. It was an amazing run, but her thoughts didn't believe her. She reached the hotel, peeled off the match gear, and stared at her reflection in the mirror. Not just at the tired eyes or the marks the visor had left on her forehead. She stared at the person she'd been becoming. Somewhere along the way, winning had stopped feeling joyful. It had become expected. Iga remembered weeks ago, reading an article titled, "Who Can Stop Swiatek?" and realizing they weren't asking if she would win. They were asking when she would finally fail. Now they had their answer. The next morning, the sky was gray and undecided. She took her journal from the nightstand, a leather-bound notebook she carried everywhere but rarely opened. It was time. She wrote the headline at the top of the page. I definitely made too many mistakes. Then she paused, letting the sentence sit there like a bruise. And underneath, she wrote, yes, but not just in the match. Her hand didn't stop. Mistake 1. Letting pressure dictate joy. Tennis had always been her escape. Even in childhood, when her classmates scrolled through phones or parties, she spent hours on clay courts, drawing confidence with every serve. But recently, the freedom had vanished. Each swing felt weighted with expectations, not just from coaches or the media, but from herself. She remembered the third round of her last tournament. She had won 6-0, 6-1. The crowd had roared. Her opponent had looked overwhelmed. But Iga had walked off the court and gone straight to the stats sheet. Only 68% first serves in. That's not good enough. She couldn't remember how the match had felt, only how the numbers had looked. Mistake 2. Mistaking invincibility for growth. The streak had started quietly, almost accidentally. A few wins, then a title, then 2. Then she was chasing history. The media had called her unstoppable. Even her opponents had started entering matches with wide eyes and tentative steps. But Iga knew better. She had stopped taking risks. To protect the streak, she had adjusted her game, playing safer shots, choosing the percentages, avoiding the wild brilliance that had once defined her style. She had, in trying not to lose, stopped learning how to win better. And when a fearless challenger finally came with nothing to lose, Iga didn't have an answer. Mistake 3. Forgetting why. The day before this match, she had sat in her hotel room scrolling social media. Highlight reels, endorsements, fan pages. Everyone watching. Everyone expecting. She had started to feel like a product, not a player. There was no space to breathe, to mess up, to be. And that's what hurt the most. Not that the streak ended, but that part of her felt relieved, because it meant she could finally fail. And failure, oddly enough, meant she was still human. A knock at the door pulled her from the journal. Her coach stepped in gently, holding 2 coffees. "You okay?" he asked, handing her one. She gave a soft, dry laugh. "Define okay." He sat beside her, not saying anything. For a while, silence was all they needed. Then he said, "It was going to happen eventually." "I know," she said, "but I wanted to lose on my terms, playing my game." "And did you?" "No," she looked away. "I played not to lose, not to disappoint." Her coach nodded slowly. "And did that work?"